Mentioned it's been a busy day, and that breaking news continues where the Eagles are re-signing linebacker Zack Baun on a 3-year, $51 million deal. That is according to ESPN. The All-Pro backer is coming off a breakout year. He was tied for 6th most tackles in the NFL this past season, helped lead the Eagles to their 2nd Super Bowl title in franchise history, and he is now locked up in Philly through the 2027 season. So, JJ, the Eagles re-signing Zack Baun. He had signed a 1-year deal with the Eagles, kind of bet on himself, moves from outside to inside linebacker, and it worked out for him, right? He had, 150 tackles. Your reaction to this breaking news that's just coming down there out of Philly?
Yeah, I got a few texts here that I haven't been able to get to, unfortunately. So I'm sure that those numbers are correct and accurate. But yeah, it's a big move for the defending Super Bowl champs. Bringing back Zack Baun, obviously, he could have gone to free agency and probably could have gotten much more money than that. But look, you keep a good thing going. It didn't work out with the New Orleans Saints, probably a difference of opinion between coaches and personnel. He moves on to Seattle. Vic Fangio believed in him at that position, and it's paid huge dividends for Zack Baun, the All-Pro linebacker. So a very good deal for Baun. Again, if this were all about money, he could have waited a week. He probably would have gotten more money elsewhere. But clearly it's not just about money for him. It's about being a world champion, and he was and is that now and wants to continue to be that. So re-signing with Philly makes a lot of sense.
And finally, JJ, we got to talk about the Bears making a big splash. Clearly, their priorities, we know what they are. It's clear to protect Caleb Williams. They're trading for Joe Thuney from KC. And it's interesting because Kansas City, we saw Patrick Mahomes get sacked a whole lot in that Super Bowl there against the Eagles. What does this mean for both sides as we're moving forward, the Chiefs and the Bears?
So for the Bears, obviously, they've needed to protect Caleb Williams much better. Caleb Williams has to get rid of the football much more quickly, no question about it. 68 sacks this past season. But we see right there the Bears on one side, Jonah Jackson, and the deal they just made for him yesterday, and now getting Joe Thuney. He has 1 year left on his deal. It'll be interesting to see what an extension looks like for the 32 going on 33-year-old interior offensive lineman who we saw can kick out to left tackle. If you do need him to, can really play just about any position on the offensive line, as well as the leadership that he's going to bring. He is a multi-time Super Bowl champion with 2 different franchises, and so having blocked for Tom Brady, having blocked for Patrick Mahomes, this is someone who's going to bring an incredible amount of leadership to that offensive line and to that locker room there in Chicago. Meanwhile, for Kansas City, obviously a difficult decision for them. I don't know that the Chiefs believe that they got better today because they got rid of Joe Thuney, of course. However, they want to continue this sort of Super Bowl window, and they have to make tough decisions. That's something that General Manager Brett Veach has had to do over the past several years. And so they're going to look to maybe have Kingsley Suamaiata move to left guard. Obviously, they franchise tagged Trey Smith, their right guard. Now that they have freed up some cap space, about $15 million or so, that's going to help make the Chiefs and Trey Smith work toward a long-term contract extension much easier. Of course, they have that franchise tag around $23 million. You want to bring that cap number down while taking care of Trey. So that's something to be on the lookout for here in the next couple of days until the start of free agency next week.
JJ, we certainly appreciate it. We know you're a busy guy. We'll let you go and tend to those text messages, running down all the breaking news that we're hearing about the NFL on this very busy day and getting a look at some of the upcoming dates in the NFL free agency that officially starts 4 Eastern on March 12th. The restricted free agent deadline April 18th. And then, of course, we are all looking ahead to the draft over in Green Bay. That kicks off on April 24th. This on set to discuss. Before we get into landing spots and all the things, Lige, your initial reaction to DK Metcalf wanting a trade out of Seattle?
Jacqueline, not surprised at all. There were rumors already that the Seahawks could potentially put him out there as trade bait, but then they backed off those rumors. But the business of football, DK Metcalf is going into the last year of his extension. And for most players, they want that financial security. So they don't want to go into that last year of that deal and not have future financial security. So I'm sure this is a scenario where DK was like, let's work out a deal, but maybe the Seahawks don't see him as a part of the future. Let's not forget Mike McDonald is a new head coach. He just got there last year, so he wasn't there when DK Metcalf got this extension. And when you just look at the film, sometimes Geno Smith and DK Metcalf weren't on the same page. Some of those pivotal interceptions Geno had, it was because him and DK weren't on the same page. Jackson Smith-Njigba has become the true #1 receiver on this team. I think that's how the Seahawks look at this as well.
All right, and we're going to talk more about Seattle and moving forward and their vision as a whole. But before that, let's talk about where DK Metcalf could end up, because he's going to be a good fit for any team, right? Any team would love to have him, but circumstance, cap room, coaching, what comes to mind for you?
I mean, we saw the stat right there, one of a few players to have 900 yards in each one of his years in the NFL. Why not go to an old friend, Pete Carroll, with the Las Vegas Raiders? Let's not forget, Pete Carroll was on staff when they drafted DK Metcalf, and people always talk about receivers being prima donnas and dealing with that characteristic of a star receiver. Well, Pete Carroll can deal with that. Even though he's an older head coach, he has a youthful spirit. They need receiver help in the worst way for the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, Brock Bowers was a great draft pick last year. He broke rookie records at the tight end position. But besides Jacoby Myers, they really don't have anybody that scares you on that offensive side when you talk about pass catchers. So the Las Vegas Raiders make a lot of sense because, one, they're not in the NFC, so they'd be trading him out of the division altogether, and they wouldn't have to see the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, and Pete Carroll, to your point, he can deal with a lot. He's won at the college level, at the NFL level, and he's been around for a bit. Let's circle back to Seattle and the team as a whole, the direction where it's going. Recently, a new head coach over the last, 2 seasons. They say goodbye to Tyler Lockett, who's been there his entire career. Now they're allowing DK to seek a trade. What does this tell you, Lige, about the direction that the Seahawks are going overall as we move forward into next season?
Well, I think Mike McDonald's putting his handprint on the culture, because those players that we just talked about were from the former regime. So when a new head coach come in, he kind of wants to put his thumbprint, his handprint on what the locker room looks like, what the team on the field looks like. I just talked about how Jackson Smith-Njigba has essentially become their #1 receiver for the Seattle Seahawks. Tyler Lockett has been a consummate pro. They released him because of his cap number being too high. Now DK Metcalf is requesting a trade, most likely because the Seattle Seahawks don't want to give him an extension because they may not see him as part of the future there as well. So this lets you know, Jacqueline, that Mike McDonald is putting his handprint on his team, and it is truly his team going into the future with the Seattle Seahawks.
And to your point, I think Tyler Lockett saves them like $17 million in cap space. Lige, we certainly appreciate it joining us here for that breaking news out of the NFL, where the Seahawks are allowing DK Metcalf to explore some trade options. DK has requested a trade out of Seattle. Multiple reports are saying that. Getting a look at the upcoming.
The Philadelphia Eagles have just secured their future at the running back position with an impressive contract extension for Saquon Barkley. With $41.2 million over 2 years, including $36 million guaranteed, Barkley not only becomes the highest-paid running back in the NFL, but also strengthens the team's aspirations of returning to the Super Bowl. This move not only bolsters Philadelphia's roster, but has also drawn comparisons to one of the franchise's greatest legends, Steve Van Buren. Could Barkley be following in the footsteps of the iconic 1940s running back? Let's break it down. Barkley's arrival in Philadelphia was seen as a strategic move to give the team's rushing attack more firepower. In his first year with the Eagles, he proved to be a key piece, racking up over 1,200 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns, helping the team remain a contender in the NFC. His explosiveness and ability to break tackles made him a lethal weapon in Nick Sirianni's offense. But Barkley doesn't just shine in the running game. His versatility has also made him a threat in the passing game, adding over 400 receiving yards and becoming a reliable option for Jalen Hurts in crucial moments. The Eagles' decision to give him this massive extension makes it clear that the team sees him as a long-term investment. In a league where the value of running backs has declined in recent years, Philadelphia is betting on a generational talent who can make a difference in their pursuit of a championship. However, what has drawn the most attention is the comparison to Steve Van Buren, who defined an era in the 1940s and led the Eagles to 2 NFL championships in 1948 and 1949. Steve Van Buren is considered a legend in Philadelphia, becoming the first running back in NFL history to lead the league in rushing yards 4 times. His impact was so great that he led the Eagles to their first championships before the Super Bowl era. His dominant playing style and ability to carry the team in the biggest moments made him a franchise icon. Many believe Van Buren laid the foundation for modern running backs, and his legacy remains alive in Eagles history. The big question now is, can Saquon Barkley leave a similar mark? His talent is undeniable, and his ability to run and catch makes him an extremely valuable player in today's NFL. However, matching Van Buren's greatness won't be easy. In a league where the passing game dominates and running back longevity is uncertain, Barkley will need to stay healthy and consistent to reach historic levels. Additionally, the competition in the NFC is fierce, and the Eagles will have to face elite defenses looking to slow him down. One thing is certain, with this contract, the Eagles have made it clear that they see Saquon Barkley as a cornerstone for their success in the coming years. If he stays healthy and continues to produce at a high level, he could become one of the greatest figures in team history. His leadership on and off the field will also be crucial in guiding the Eagles to another championship, and his playoff performance will be the true measure of his legacy. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Saquon Barkley can reach the level of Steve Van Buren? Will he be the key piece for the Eagles to lift the Vince Lombardi trophy again? Leave your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive NFL content. See you in the next video.